And now to the Middle East. At the UN, Israel bracing for more than a dozen nations to announce recognition of a Palestinian state during the annual General Assembly. But as Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, Israel is announcing plans on the ground that would stop any Palestinian state from becoming a reality.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signed an agreement Thursday to build a large number of housing units just outside of Jerusalem. The move, he says, and many believe, would effectively prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state.
This is a huge change, and we know there's another change here, or precisely another fulfillment of promise, not a biblical one, but a present one. We said that a Palestinian state will not be established, and indeed, a Palestinian state will not be established.
At the 9/11 memorial in Israel, hundreds gathered to remember those who died in the 9/11 attacks 24 years ago.
Is important for several reasons. The first one is that it's the only memorial outside of the United States that lists every single victim from that horrible day. And it also represents the strong bond between the United States and Israel.
Zaluda sees a profound connection between 9/11 and October 7th.
You know, in the United States, it's just because we were a Western country. In Israel, frankly, it's because we're Israel and we're Jews. The number of people that were killed on those days was horrific in both instances.
U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee came to address the gathering and remember 9/11.
We never should forget what happened to America on 9/11. As surely as Israel will never forget October the 7th of the Holocaust, this was an attack on the United States, its sovereignty, its security. It was a shock to us.
Huckabee also remembered Charlie Kirk.
One of the most brilliant young men I've ever known in my life. Gentle, kind. Why anyone would want to kill Charlie Kirk just shows a level of evil that makes no sense. He was not an angry man. He was not a hateful man.
And Huckabee believes America needs a spiritual revival.
America's got to turn to the Lord. Our only hope is a spiritual renewal and revival. Because what happened to him was not just a political calculation. It was an act of demonic evil. And all we really have to hope for is that there is a spiritual renewal in our country that will awaken people to once again treat each other with respect. That doesn't come from somebody from the outside in. It comes from the inside out. It's a soul issue. It's not a political issue.
Well said. Our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell is with us now from Jerusalem. Chris, how deep is the connection between Israelis and Americans with 9/11 and October 7th?
Well, Wendy, it's a profound connection. I saw it, firsthand last night at the ceremony there at the 9/11 memorial. The only one outside of the U.S. that has all the names of the 2,977 who died on 9/11. Many in attendance had loved ones who had perished in 9/11, and they had those who were affected by October 7th. There was a mother of a son who died on 9/11. She spoke, and one of those who were kidnapped and then released after October 7th sang at a song of during the ceremony. And so these two horrible days, 9/11 and October 7th, they really, in some way, have really deepened the bond between these two countries.
And Chris, how would these new Israeli housing units near Jerusalem prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state?
Well, these are some of the details of what happened at that ceremony when they were signing that agreement. It's an area, Wendy, just outside of Jerusalem. It's known as E1. It's been talked about for literally about 20 years. But finally, after all the developments and these threats of a Palestinian state, Israel is going to decide to populate that area that has been vacant for about 20 years. It's next to a place called Ma'ale Adumim with about tens of thousands of people. They're going to add 70,000 new residents in about 5 years. Now, what this would do, Wendy, was prevent a contiguous Palestinian state. It would interrupt any Palestinian state going from Ramallah to Bethlehem. And so any future Palestinian state would literally be broken up.
And how are plans going for the IDF operation into Gaza City?
Well, down in Gaza right now, there's been about 250,000 residents that have evacuated. That's about out of 900,000 to 1 million. And this is really key for the IDF to get them out of harm's way. As we've talked, Wendy, earlier this week, the IDF is sending leaflets. They're calling people on the phone, sending text messages, telling them exactly where to go. And they want to get as many people out of harm's way before this major push into Gaza City, perhaps the last stronghold of Hamas.
Do you think people are heeding the warning? Are they getting out in time?
Well, some are, but on the other hand, Wendy, Hamas is actually trying to prevent many of these people from leaving. They want to use them as human shields. They want to use them as propaganda if they do get killed by the IDF, unfortunately. So this is really a delicate time right now, but very key for the IDF to get as many people out as they can.
Yeah, I hope they get out. Well, there's reports Hamas tried to infiltrate one of the distribution sites of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Chris, what can you tell us about that?
Well, these are 4 sites set up by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. They provide free food, but Hamas wants to eliminate them, interrupt them, disrupt them, because it undermines the control of the food inside Gaza and the control of the people. So they were threatening to storm the situation, storm one of these sites. Actually, some of them dressed up as women. They shut the site down just for the safety. But just one example of why Hamas wants to shut down what's called the GHF.
Well, you have a great show called Jerusalem Dateline. What do you have coming up on today's show?
Well, Wendy, we have a tribute to Charlie Kirk. We have a story on college students visiting Israel. You know, he spoke to so many college students in his lifetime. And we find out that Charlie Kirk's life was really profoundly affected by when he visited Israel several years ago. We'll have more on that as well.
Yeah, it's just incredible, the reaction. I got a text from my niece who's in college last night, so upset about this. You know, I believe there's going to be millions of Charlie Kirks rise up from this horrible situation. Well, our CBN...
I agree, Wendy, very much.
Yeah. All right. Well, our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell, they're in Jerusalem for us today. Happy Friday to you, and thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again. And you can see the latest Jerusalem Dateline. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern on the CBN News channel. You can also watch it on the CBN News app or on